Oh, hey there, pilgrims. It's been a while since I've been actually sitting down to make something like this. Welcome to, you know, the other reality. Uh, One thing I wanted to talk about just briefly was basically, I don't know about a lot of you, but I'm a guy that is, early 60s, kind of mid 60s almost. And, I'm retired from the labor force and I live overseas in another country. And I am an expat from the USA. Now, a lot of you already know that. Some of you have already seen my earlier little tidbit type tapes. Something I want to talk about. It's called, here we are looking at social media. And the thing is the fact that I'm sure you've heard this millions of times, but I didn't realize how much it really impacts me as an individual. I live in a place where I get most of my information on the internet. I do a lot of my information seeking for things that I hear about that happen internationally and things like that, internet-wise. So doing the internet thing is something that I do. And I follow up in some other, sources here and there about, what is real, what is not real. And I've discovered I have a very crooked head. No, anyway, here's the deal. I'm looking at all this stuff and all this input. And then I go to a social media source that I use because I like to hear what other people are thinking. And I use Facebook. And many people do, naturally. Well, here's the thing. I'm looking at Facebook. And over the years that I've been using Facebook, I've been, of course, defriended and friended. And I've had a group of people walking through. Some of them are people that I've known in the military when I was even back in the 70s and 80s, mostly the 80s. And, we get in touch and we're on Facebook. And I've even been defriended by one of those guys that I worked with because he said that I was just too radical. And I've been criticized myself for putting up things that, I find, oh, okay, I don't know too much about this, so I'll put it up and see what kind of response I get. Because that way, by looking at the response from the other, excuse me, I've got an allergy and it's beginning to itch. But, I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the people's responses, right? And I get this, you bastard type of thing because you put this up. How can you put this up without checking it out? You should know better. And I get like being preached to by the choir, And, I'm not even preaching. I'm just putting this. It's like a bulletin board. That's all Facebook is. It's a bulletin board. You put stuff up, people read it, and they maybe put up another note. It's like when I was a kid at the supermarket in town my mother went to. Everybody there were those big cork boards, and everybody had put, car for sale, room for rent. My sister works for only $20 a blowjob and a great time. She's a cheap date, and it's like going to the restroom and looking on the bathroom walls at the toilet. What I'm trying to say is that then there are some people that are very, very dedicated about what they're talking about. And, they're very, very, oh, it's only this way because of, and they become very defensive and very aggressive. Something, I've lived a life where I've been in countries with people that have been very, very aggressive. I've been in military organizations that it was always aggressive and it was always go by the rules. And then there's society. You see, you not only get the rules dumped on you about what you can say and what you can do by society, also your workplace, the people you're around and the culture you're in, even in a marriage or cohabitating with somebody, there are certain rules in societies. And even if you have pets, like dogs and cats, they have their set of rules to where like your dog's going to like you if you treat him a certain way, and if you kick him every day, then of course your relationship is not very good. So then we get into these other issues about, capital punishment and things like that. And, if our leaders are viable leaders, that they really come, are they really legal to be our leaders? This happens in the country I come from. And we talk about the corruption, and we see about how everybody's writing about K rights, and everybody's writing about this, and everybody's complaining about that. And, I got onto that little bit for a while there. For years I've been part of it, and I didn't really realize it until one day I was sitting back and I said, why the hell am I doing this crap? All these people are bitching and moaning and complaining. And you know something? They're bitching and moaning and complaining. Now maybe a couple of them may actually go out and stand in a demonstration and say, hey, here's our rights. I'm in the Million Man March. I'm in the, I'm in the gay parade, and, okay, fine, that happens, but that's maybe 1% of the population, I'm going to the games. More people go to NASCAR than they go to anything else, and it comes to like grouping and things like that, it seems like. But what I'm trying to say is that what it boils down to me is I came to the conclusion that nobody's ever happy about anything. When people are happy, it's a microcosm in their life. A microcosmic moment, and a collection of them determines in your mind whether you're having a good life or not. You get up in the morning, you get the coffee or the whatever you want to drink, you get the food you might like for breakfast. You get out, you maybe do some things that you want to do. You have a few extra whatever to buy or do what you want, or you can see your favorite program or play on your computer or your phone, or see family members and play with your pets, and maybe those little things add up during the day which make a good day. An accumulation of those over weeks and months make a good life. But you see, what it boils down to is your self-satisfaction about what you have and what you're doing, which doesn't always, people sometimes judge their life by their accomplishments, whether or not they have great laureates, or they're rich, or they're whatever. Something, we don't always all become the rich with the laureates. We don't always have a fair life. Sometimes we have handicaps that we deal with that other people don't. It's like I am obese at this point in my life, and I wasn't always. And I have people say to me, oh, just lose weight. It's your fault. Okay, that doesn't solve my problem now, and I'm aware of maybe what happened. But it's like me saying to you or saying to somebody else, well, if you have diabetes, stop your diabetes. Or, just stop the brain tumor, it doesn't really matter. Or, that sickle cell anemia, you don't need it, just don't do it anymore. It's like after the fact. It's kind of like bonehead stupid. It's like telling a guy after he jumps off a 5,000-foot abyss, oh, you think you want to think about that for a minute before you do it again? Well, he's on the way down. So here we are. I've already been talking almost 10 minutes, and I usually make them short, but here's the deal. Let's wrap this up really kind of quickly. Life is a series of events that happen, whether we know they're fair or not, whether or not we agree if they're fair or not. Life happens. Our ability to navigate and work our way through life in a way that is beneficial to us brings us happiness or brings us great sadness. Then there's always the X factor. Things happen that you don't plan on. Like you're driving across an intersection and somebody T-bones your car with a Mack truck, and you're riding in like a little tiny econo car, like a Gremlin or a Pacer or something. You remember those? Probably not. But here's the deal. Are you riding your bicycle and get hit by the bus going across town? There are things in life that happen that we just can't plan on. But sometimes we survive, sometimes we don't. Just as a quick note, I have been having treatment for over 5 years on my legs because I've been having medical problems with them. I was in the hospital just a few days ago, and I saw many people that were always far worse off than I am. And it made me think we should be fortunate for what we have while we have it. And even though we don't have all of the things that we want, we, like I'm talking about sitting down to that meal. Okay, maybe they're all eating the better food, but I'm still getting fed. And maybe my health isn't perfect, but for a guy that's 65 years old, coming on 65, I look at people that are 20 years younger than I am, and they're in worse physical shape and obesity than I am, and they're in their 20s and 30s. And I wonder, will they make it even to their 60s? Everything in life is relative. It is cause and effect, I believe. It's karma. It's good and bad. We even create some of the situations that befall us, good and bad. But we have to plan for the unexpected. It will happen. Life is not something that, you can criticize all you want about the politics in your life and the things going on with our governments and things like that. We are not empowered to make those changes. Of all the people that are going to watch this tape I'm making, I would wager that none of you are empowered enough to make a change one iota. You might be able to feed somebody out on the street who's going hungry. That is a change, and that is an iota. But I would say if we're going to make changes, let's make them on a level that we can do something that is right, effective, and something within our grasp to do it. And quit complaining. Let's just keep track of what the other idiots and assholes and jerks are doing and try to defend ourselves against what they're doing to us. Because the only defense we're going to have is, okay, I don't know how many conspiracy theories are out there, and I don't know how many conspiracies are really conspiracies. Honestly, Kennedy's dead. It doesn't really matter who killed him now. It really matters about how we survive today until we die. Okay, it would be nice to know, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a life changer. There could be UFOs and there could be aliens running around from Roswell. Frankly, I don't give a damn. Okay? I can only live in my own little sphere of influence in my own area, my own reality. So, when we're looking at realities, look at yours. Consider it. And I should be saying goodbye now. If you got a comment, I'd appreciate it. Goodbye now.